You are my child, I believe in you. You don't have to run around trying to figure out what to do. Just take my hand, I'll lead you to the promised land. Give you the desires of your heart if you let me. And I have the keys. Good morning. To the kingdom, yes. Give you the keys. To the kingdom, yes. And you are my child. I believe in you. I give you the desires of your heart if you let me. You are my child. I believe in you. You don't have to run around trying to figure out what to do. Just take my hand. I'll lead you to the promised land. Give you the desires of your heart if you let me. And I have the keys. This is what Jesus said. To the kingdom, yes, I'll give you the keys. To the kingdom, yes, and you are my child. I believe in you. I give you the desires of your heart if you let me. Give you the desires of your heart if you let me. I'll give you the desires of your heart. If mama's here, she'd say, oh Lordy, if you let me. Good morning, everybody, and welcome to the Wealth Channel. Brother Ricky, gracious host. Today we're going to be talking about this idea, and that's the idea how to make hard easy, how to make things that used to be hard for you become second nature. We're going to be talking about the process of that today. But first, let me say hello to some of you, incredible kings and queens. Good morning to you, Queen Joyce. How are you, dear? I hope you're having a wonderful day. Good morning to you, Queen Teresa. You illustrious queen. God bless you. Good morning to you, Deborah. Good morning to you, Lyria. I hope you're having a wonderful day. Good morning to you, Brother Ken. Good morning to you, Masterling Pena. Is that correct? Good morning to you. Good morning to you, Brother Scott. Good morning to you. I'm living blessed. Good morning. Good morning to you, Lavetta. Good morning to you. Salu, good morning to you. Good morning to you, Brother Aaron. Hope you're having a wonderful day. And good morning to you, Robert. I believe it's that Robert. Is that correct? Good morning. So good morning to everybody. I hope you're having a wonderful day. Red Smoke, good morning to you as well. So let's get right into this lesson today. You said, Brother Rick, how do you get to the point where what you're doing is not even subconscious anymore? It's even unconscious. How do you get to that point? Well, the way to get to that point is to understand that what's easy to people right now, it used to be hard. So this is why people don't master things and why people are not valuable in the marketplace and why it's so hard for an individual to make money. Well, it's because you ought to be doing something that's like really easy to you at this point in your life. But it can't be real easy to you at this point unless it was real hard to you at some other point. Everybody wants to go to Easy Street, but they don't understand that there's a street that you have to turn down before you get to Easy Street. It is called Difficult Avenue. All right. It's called Hard Street, Hard Boulevard. And most people want to avoid Hard Boulevard and they want to take a detour and get to Easy Street. I'm like, that's not how it works. They say, Brother Ricky, how'd you get to a point where you just made $1 million in a day, got an award for making $1 million in a day? Well, I just got off of a Zoom with some people that we're doing some international exporting with, where $1 million in a day is going to look like, like the soup line, all right, compared to the things that we're preparing and what we're doing, with this import and export that we'll be doing around the world. But what's my point? My point is that once you get some habitual behavior, everybody that makes money is because we just have good habits. We are very repetitive with what we do. We're extremely redundant. In other words, what is mundane to somebody else is just our average every day. because people are very patient with things that they should be impatient about, and very impatient with things that they should have an amazing amount of patience with. Therein lies the difference between people who do great things and people who live mediocre lives. In other words, it's like when you're in a car and somebody rolls up and they almost run you off the road. Brother Stan, how you doing? And Enid, good morning, dear. It's like you're riding in your car and somebody, you know how it is, somebody rolls up on you like a psycho, almost ran you off the street. I mean, nearly killed you just to be sitting at the light. So you get to the light and you look at them and you're like, woo wee, these are the days, boy. I know God didn't change my boy. Didn't change. You didn't give him the finger. You didn't nobody. You didn't give him the finger. You didn't cuss him out. None of that. You know, you're like, woo. Got a lot of nerve cutting me off like that. You know, like yesterday, I was on the phone talking to a friend of mine yesterday named Chris. I'm about to go have lunch with him today, and just a wonderful friend. And we were talking just as calm and cool. And a truck came behind me yesterday. And he was carrying something on the truck, on the back of the truck, and he was flying. I don't know what happened, but he got distracted because I'm just sitting there in the traffic and I'm looking at my rearview mirror. I'm like, this dude is about to hit me, and he's just gonna crash this truck. He's about to fold me up. And then, but fortunately for me and for him as well, wasn't no cars on the left side of us. So he just swerved around me and went on into the traffic. I don't know what was wrong with the man. We just sitting still there at the traffic, at least 15 cars sitting at the light. I mean, it wasn't anywhere for him to go. What you're going to do, just ride through us and go through the cars to get through the light. And then when he got up a little further, he dipped in front of some more cars. It was just amazing. I was like, all of that, people die like that. Somebody's plight, and they ain't going to make it home today. Why? Because not no fault of their own. They're just sitting in traffic. And here comes some psycho, ain't paying attention to what's going on, and boom, 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 boom. Next thing you know, somebody's dead. Most of the time, it happened within 5 minutes from your house. Why? Because somebody is so impatient or so aloof. Most of the time, it's just impatience. So, but they'll be sitting at the light when you get there, and then that same person will go home and they'll watch TV for 18 hours, or they go home and they'll be extremely patient with non-productive activities, things that don't make any money, or not just money, but things that just aren't productive. If I'm not productive during the course of a day, I feel nasty. I feel degraded. It messes with my self-esteem. If I don't do the same things every day that I got lined up, then my mind is just not right. Why? Because making money is habitual. Success is habitual. Are you hearing me? You do the same things over and over again, and then you become really, 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 really good at whatever it is that you're doing, because you're not even conscious of what you're doing anymore, because you're patient with the process of becoming real good, and you're impatient with interruptions. See, broke people are very patient with interruptions. Broke people live a life of one interruption after another interruption, after another interruption, after another interruption. Broke people are amazingly distracted. It's like they're professionally distracted. It's like, if you will distract me, then I feel more comfortable than doing the same thing undistracted. That's why I told you all. I said, if you want to get rich, turn your phone off for 2 hours a day. If you want to get rich, all right, because you're not going to get rich scrolling on this phone like a zombie all day. You're going to have to take some time where nobody's going to interrupt me. Why? I'm writing my book right now. I'm writing my play right now. I'm writing my love letter to my wife right now. I'm writing my love letter to my husband right now. I'm writing out my game plan right now. I'm studying this book right now, and I don't want no interruptions. People know I get agitated when I get interrupted. Why? Because I'm like focused in on what's going on, because I want to be real good at whatever it is that I'm doing. I don't want to be okay. I don't want to be mediocre. I want to master whatever's going on. So I stopped by this morning and talked to you about how to make what's hard easy. So there's a process for it. In the process of making things that's hard easy, the first process is that you have to embrace what's hard. In other words, you have to hurry up and get wrong. You have to say, you know what? I know I'm not good at this. And I know what? I know I'm going to never get good at this if I don't run straight towards the commitment that's involved in being wrong first. See, this is a problem with people. Human beings hate to be wrong. It's just our nature. Okay. We don't like it. It seems vulnerable to be wrong and to admit it. and then we feel like we're less than a person. So this is human nature, but human nature will keep you broke for the rest of your life because human nature is not your friend. Your friend is humility, and humility will make you rich. Why? Because you'll say to yourself, look, I'm just not good right now, but I'm going to get better. So I know that what I'm going to have to make my mistakes right now. But my mistakes, they don't define me. My mistakes is what's making me rich. Are you listening to me? Are you hearing what I'm saying? My mistakes, Ken, it's not even failing. See, when people say a term like that, Ken, like fail forward, it's a good cliche-ish thing to say. But when you make a mistake is not failure. Failure is not making a mistake. All right. I'm teaching you how to make hard easy because a mistake means now I have the experience of the mistake. And the only way to get good at something is to be bad at it first. So, when I first started doing math in school, I was bad. I know they told me you can only take 050 math in college when I went to Ivy Tech Community College. They said you can only take 050 math because you're just slow, Ricky. You dig? I don't know how you got here as a grown man and you don't understand this math. I'm like, yeah, okay, it is what it is. I'm not offended by the fact that I need to step my game up. I appreciate the fact that you'll let me attend college while I'm taking a class that doesn't even qualify for a credit. So you say, Ricky, you mean who in the world would waste their time to take a class and it doesn't even qualify for a credit? Well, I have to take that class to get to the class that I qualify for a credit. So that means one day because I was determined, I'm like, one day I'm going to be really good in math. All right. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to study my butt off and I'm going to be willing to look bad when I first start. Okay. Let me give you another example. When I first started selling cars, I was a car salesperson. All right. So when I first started selling cars, the first day, the guys had me out there and I walked around the car and they did a walk around and they did everything that you're supposed to do. And then they said, okay, brother Rick, you do the same thing. So I walked around the car and all of that. So when I got through, I said, so how did I do? They said, well, at least you got a good smile, brother Rick. Because there were some wisecracking little opies from Mayberry. They thought they was funny, right? So he was like, you really got a nice smile, brother Rick. I was like, all right, whatever, opie. All right, wisecracking on me like that. So I was like, it is what it is. So what's my point? My point is that I was bad. And they laughed at me, but it didn't bother me. Because what? I'm like, how in the world am I going to ever make a presentation on these cars if I don't do the first presentation? Your first presentation not supposed to be good. All right? It's supposed to be bad. It's not a failure. All right. The failure is what? To not make the first presentation. I've been talking to some of you all for years. I'm like, why don't you go live, make videos, and teach what you do? Why in the world are you in the witness protection program? I mean, what's with this silent night? I mean, why is every day with you a Christmas song? Silent night, broke night, ain't got no money, cause don't nobody know me. On my way to pick up my government check. Can't get no love, can't get no respect. Man, come on. Would y'all please with the silent night stuff? Silent night, silent days. Why? We are silent because we don't like to be ridiculed by people. That stuff happened early when we were growing up because people would stop laughing quick. But that stuff happened early when you was a kid. Why? Because you went up to the counter and you started doing a question. You was at the board. Somebody hit you in the head with a spitball. You know how kids are. Hit you in the head with a spitball. And you turned around and everybody laughed. Man messed you up for life. Are you hearing me? I'm talking to some of y'all. You are not doing what you're supposed to be doing. Why? Because this stuff happened to you. I'm like, you a grown man, a grown woman. You're not 9 years old no more. You still talking about that stuff? You still see them people's pictures in your head. Man, grow up. All right. Time is flying past you and past me, whether we do anything or not. So that means that what? We have to get over whatever happened and move on with our life. Are you picking up what I'm putting down? Why? Because it is what it is. All right. So when I first got to school, when I first got to college, they said, you got to take these classes, these 050 classes. I said, okay, cool. All right, I'm 47 years old going to college. I'm serious as a heart attack. What? I'm like, man, I'm gonna make the most out of this time. It is what it is. So I went through that class, and then I went to another class. I went to another class. Then I took finite math, and then I took calculus, and then I took a statistics class, and then I took a business statistics class, and then I took an online algebra class, and I took accounting one, and I took accounting two, and then I took business law, and pretty much got almost straight A's and everything. Why? Because I was willing to be bad at it. I was willing to start out not knowing what was going on. I didn't know what was going on in every single class when I first got there. So what I said I was going to do, I said to increase my learning curve, I'm not just going to walk into the room and learn when the class is going on. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go to the lab and get tutored. And I spent so much time in it until the people thought I worked in a lab. They thought I was a tutor. I wasn't a tutor. I was extremely slow. I mean, I would have got all F's if it hadn't been a tutoring lab. Are you listening to me? Do you know the difference between being great and being mediocre as your tutors? Are you hearing what I'm saying? And if you don't use tutors and if you don't study in a collective area, then you begging for mediocrity, meaning that it's going to be hard for you for the rest of your life because you're making it hard on yourself. What? Don't be like Marvin Gaye said, I come up hard, but that's okay, cause trouble man don't get in my way. Hey, I've been some places and I seen some faces mess with my direction. You know my affection. What you say, they don't bother me. I come up hard, baby. Man, don't make that your song. What? I come up hard and be like bragging about the fact that I'm doing everything. I'm making it hard on myself. No, you make it too hard on yourself when you don't do what? When you don't collaborate. I just saw this thing on Instagram. I sent it to some of you all, some of my friends, and it showed how they had some black students and some Asian students in math. And it talked about how the Asian students was killing the game. It reminded me of one of my friends when I was in school who got straight A's on everything when we was taking math classes. I would get like one wrong or two wrong, and she would miss nothing. I was like, you are amazing. And she and I, we had fun together. We sat down and did some studying together. And so they said that the Asian students was killing it, but the black students weren't. So they said, so what's wrong with the black students? Are they slower than the Asian students? Well, so the instructor, he said, let me do this. He said, I'm gonna take 2 weeks and I'm just gonna study the habits of the black students. So he studied their habits, and he found out that they were all studying with individually, and that the Asian students were studying in groups. So he just changed the way that they were studying. He said, listen, I'm gonna put you all in some study groups. And then the black students all shined and all came through with flying colors. And they went from being bad to being excellent. That's a big difference between doing what? Turning something hard into something easy. Because this individual behavior is slavery. Are you hearing me? And amongst black people, it's been this way because we were trained to be this way over 300 years ago. It started with the Willie Lynch mentality. Willie Lynch, he went up and down the Mississippi River and he told the white slave owners, he said, listen, if you want to keep these black folk in check, stop killing them because you're killing your product. He said, just turn them against each other. Tell the tall people to hate the short people. Tell the light-skinned slaves to hate the dark-skinned slaves. Tell the men to hate the women. Tell the house Negroes to hate the field Negroes. See, black people in America are going through a different type of thing than any other race because nobody was brought here and taught how to hate each other outside of us. Nobody else came here. Nobody else who immigrated to this country came here with that type of baggage. So it worked so good until he said what? He said 150 years later, after you implement this, it'll still be working. And it's sad to say that to this day in 2023, we don't collaborate the way that we're supposed to collaborate because we've been taught to do things individually. But that's slavery, all right? Because you just don't know enough on your own. One of my favorite times I had in school was with this young lady named Deshawn, who wasn't even in college anymore. I met her in school, but she had stopped coming. But she was a genius. So we sat down one day and we started doing some pre-calculus at her crib. She still knew all the answers to the questions and wasn't even in school. This is how bright this young lady was. We sat there in the mental telepathy that we developed there that night the sparks that was flying in that room while we were studying, because I came prepared. I'd already been at the tutors and I'd already been reading the book. So by now I'm in position with Deshaun to really make it rain like a hurricane. Man, we went over every question in that book, everything that the teacher could possibly ask us. Then I got back to class the next morning and he started doing stuff on the board. Well, I knew every single answer. I was sitting around looking at the students and I could see that you know how you look at somebody and you can see how they thinking, how they wrinkles start getting in their forehead and stuff like that. Why? Because they hadn't studied anything prior to getting there and they was just trying to get it on the fly. And I was like, why would you wreck your brain like that? Now you listen to me, I'm talking about how to make hard things easy. And the way to make hard things easy is to stay in advance of things and to be proactive with the way that you approach your work and the way that you approach your career and the way that you approach whatever it is that you're doing. All right. So your brain won't be wrecked. Your brain cannot take that pressure and that stress of trying to do everything at one time and rushing into things. That's not how the brain operates. You say, Brother Ricky, I'm better than like that. I really like to cram everything in at the last minute. Well, I beg to differ. What I believe is that when a person says that, they just have bad habits. And so to justify the bad habit, because you were spending time watching television, spending time gossiping, spending time tricking off, doing stuff ain't got nothing to do with nothing. And then when it comes time to produce, now you got to rush in everything. And now you do what? You send everybody a microwave cake that don't even taste good. Stuff make you sick. You know, I went to eat at a Chinese restaurant the other day. Shantae was like, hey, let's go check this one out. I'm like, okay, it's cool, baby. I go check it out. Man, I ate that food. I was so sick. That stuff was cold. If they just had it sitting out there, it just made me sick. I'm like, man, I don't eat stuff like this. I don't come to these little rinky-dink places. I go to the good places to eat where the food is hot, the service is good, everybody's taking care of their business. Why? Because I don't want to die from food poisoning. I don't want a mediocre day. I don't want a day where I'm walking around with a stomach ache and all that. Why? Trying to save $15? Are you crazy? I mean, it was okay. I told her, she was like, oh, I'm sorry, baby. I said, hey, we don't always hit a home run. I said, but I won't be back here anymore, ever. Another time in my life. They'll never get a chance to jack me up again. Why? Because I like to do things in advance and be prepared for whatever it is that's going on. And my health got to be good. All right. And your health has to be good too. Don't you be eating at these fast food places. They call it fast food because you want to die fast. All right. Eating hamburgers. Are you crazy? You ain't got time for that, especially all around my age. You 60 years old and you sitting around eating that crap. You eating at Burger King and Wendy's and McDonald's and all that kind of, you're trying to die early. Why would you do that to yourself? Giving yourself high blood pressure, making your stomach hurt, making your spirit all bad. And then you're trying to deal with life. Man, don't mistreat yourself like that. So don't do have the same common sense when it comes down to making what's hard easier by doing what? Being prepared, being proactive, and doing things collaboratively. Say, Ricky, you showed up making up words. I have to laugh at myself. All right. So when you do things together collectively, then your brain expands. So my brain was expanding while I was in those study sessions with Deshaun because her brain was so sharp. All right. Because iron does what? It sharpens iron. So does a friend sharpen a friend's countenance. So the question becomes, how do I get better at what it is that I'm doing, Brother Ricky? Well, you get better through two things. Number one, through, first of all, being willing to be bad and not making no big deal out of it. Not being so ashamed that you ain't doing it right. Listen, everybody write this down in your notes, okay? Change your shame, okay? Change your shame, because broke people are ashamed of being wrong. But what a broke person should be ashamed of is ashamed of being ignorant. That's what a broke person should do. A broke person should be like, you know what? I'm going to be bad when I first start doing things because I don't know what I'm doing. People are not paying me right now because I'm just not no good. I don't deserve no money. Why? Because I'm not doing nothing that produces value for people. So that I don't have anything coming. That's the first thing that you have to do if right now your money is funny and your change is strange. All right. That's the first bit of humility that you have to just own up to and say, but I'm not going to stay here. All right. What I'm about to do is I'm about to develop my skill set. All right. And then so I'll be valuable to people and so the people will pay me. And so I can have the kind of money I'm supposed to have and a legacy I'm supposed to have and take care of my kids and my grandkids. And money ain't no issue. All right. But money is an issue because skill sets are an issue. Skill sets are an issue because they haven't been acquired. They haven't been acquired because the person hate to be wrong. So since I hate to be wrong, I can't acquire the skill set because easy street is right on the other side of hard street. I want easy street, but I want to run through. I want to ride down. I want to go on a detour right around the hard street. Hard street is the street of repetition. Are you hearing me? The street of repetition is the street that we should be going down every day. That's why when I get up in the morning, while I'm taking a shower, I say, God, who in sundry times and divers manners spake in time past to the fathers by the prophets, hath in these last days spoken us by his Son, whom he appointed heir of all things, by whom also he made the worlds, who being the brightness of his glory and express image of his person, and upholding all things by the word of his power, when he by himself purged our sins, sat down on the right hand of the throne of the majesty on high, being so made so much better than the angels, as he hath by inheritance obtained a much more excellent name than they. Under which the angel saith thee at any time, thou art my son, today have I begotten thee, and again I'll be to him a father, and he should be to me a son. And again, when he bringeth the first begotten into the world, he said, and let the angels of God worship him. And of the angels, he said, who maketh his angels spirits, and maketh his son, and maketh his angels a spirit, and his sons a flame of fire. But unto the Son, he said, thy throne, O God, is forever and ever. A scepter of righteousness is the scepter of thy kingdom. Thou hast loved righteousness and hated iniquity. Therefore, God, even thy God, hath anointed thee with the oil of gladness above thy fellows. And thou, Lord, in the beginning laid the foundations of the earth, and the heavens are the works of thy hands. They shall perish, but thou remainest, and they shall wax old as doth a garment. And as a vesture thou shalt fold them up, and they shall be changed. But thou art the same, and thy years shall not fail. But unto which the angel saith thee at any time, sit thou on my right hand, until I make thine enemies thy footstool. Are they not all ministering spirits, sent forth to minister to them that should be heirs of salvation? I'm just washing up, right? I'm just brushing my teeth while I'm saying that. By the time I get through brushing my teeth and get in the shower, I'm saying now I'm on chapter number 2, and then number 3, and then so now I'm down to chapter 12, and I'm working on chapter 13. I'm by memory. You say, well, how long it take you to do that, Ricky? I don't know. I think it's been about 2 years I've been doing it. You said you've been doing the same thing for 2 years. I'm telling you how to make what's hard easy. Are you hearing what I'm saying? See, our problem is that we like to jump from this to that, to this to that, to this to that. We like to jump around a lot in our behaviors, but it's a problem with that. Why? Because the mind hasn't had enough repetition to become good. Don't mistreat your mind like that. You have a very brilliant mind, potentially. All right. But you're going to have to discipline yourself to say, I'm going to stop doing all of this stuff all over the place, and I'm just going to stick with the same thing over and over again because I want to master it. I want to be really, really good. And I want to what? Give extreme value to everybody come around me. I want everybody's life to be so much better off because of my life. And when you start putting the emphasis on that, then you'll start becoming impatient with what you've been patient with. And you'll start becoming patient with what you've been impatient with. So I'm impatient with people jumping in and interrupting what it is that I'm doing. But I'm very patient to do the same thing over and over and over again. Why? Because my sanity is at stake, and so is yours. And my ability to be valuable is at stake, and so is yours. And then eventually it adds up to a lot of money. Are you hearing me? I just got off the phone with my daughters yesterday. I said, are you all coming to Hawaii with us? And so one of my daughters said, yeah, Daddy, I'm coming. I'm going to bring the kids. What do we need? I say, just food money. Because I'm not going to be with y'all everywhere y'all go. She said, no, Daddy. What else is it going to cost? I say, nothing. All right. She said, what? We're going to stay in a mansion on top of a mountain. On one side of the mansion, you're looking at the water at the beach. On the other side of the mountain, at the other side, you're looking at the mountains. And so we're going to spend Christmas up there, and New Year's. So why? You say, wait, why are you bragging about that, Ricky? I'm not bragging. I want to teach you like what the results are of doing the same things over and over and over again, and how you can become very impactful with your family, because you are the progenitor of your family. I didn't grow up in Hawaii. I grew up on the south side of Chicago in some projects. Okay. And then we moved to the south side of Chicago in a better neighborhood, but we were still in the ghetto. All right. Okay. Ain't nobody have no money. All right. Ain't nobody have nothing. You know what I'm saying? So I had to change my attitude about my surroundings. I was not surrounded with disciplined people. I was not surrounded with people who did the same things every day. I was surrounded with people who did a little bit of this, a little bit of that, and people who had a lot of patience with things that makes you broke. I don't have patience with things that make me broke. I don't have patience with it. All right. I am agitated by things that produces poverty. Are you listening to me? And I want to encourage you to be the same way. Spend your time on things that produce money. Don't spend your time on things that don't produce money. So then you can spend your time doing what everybody else can't do. Are you hearing me? I never dreamt in my wildest dreams. I never, in my wildest imagination, I never saw myself being able to spend the wintertime, January, on a mountain in Hawaii. I never thought that would be my normal life. I was like, I mean, I grew up on the south side of Chicago, and it's freezing in the wintertime, real cold. And by January 1st, in January, that's when it really starts kicking in, because they got that lakefront effect in Chicago. And that lakefront effect is that stuff. It had you so cold. I went to a football game in the wintertime in Chicago with my high school, Chicago Vocational High School. And I was sitting there with a little jacket on called a members only jacket. And it was freezing. We were playing the prep bowl for the championship. I froze so bad in Soldiers Field, I started crying. I was in pain. Are you hearing me? I was crying icicles, but I was trying to sit there until the game was over, and to prove my allegiance to the school. And I was crazy as hell. I begged God for my life. I said, I was so cold. I was in pain. I was so cold. I said, Lord, if you ever let me out of here, if you ever get me out of this stadium, I promise you, I'll never go no back. I'll never be no place where it's cold like this again. And I kept my word. I kept my word about that. And I broke my word a few times about things, but I kept my word about that. I ain't never went back in the night. I ain't never put myself in that kind of position again. If you go to Soldiers Field, you better have on 6 pair of socks. Soldiers Field in Chicago in the wintertime. You better have on 6 pair of socks. You better have on 3 pair of gloves. You better have on ski mask over your head. You better make sure every piece of your body is covered up. You dig? And then drink a whole bunch of hot chocolate on top of it. And maybe you can last through halftime. That's what I was subjected to. So when I was on the beach, when we had January 1st went by last year, and I was standing on the beach at Waikiki Beach, just looking at the waves, it was the first time, I think, in a few years that I actually stopped for a second and thought about, you're a long way from being in the projects, Ricky. You're a long way. And what made me feel better about it was I was looking at my grandson who was standing there, and I was like, look at your grandson. This is going to be his normal. He's going to learn how to run companies and businesses, and he's going to understand what it's like to grow up rich. You grew up extremely poor, but your grandson going to learn. But not just rich with money. He's going to learn how to really spend his time doing stuff that really makes sense. That's my point today. My point today is that how to make what's hard easy. Okay, because it's easy making a lot of money if you do the hard part first. So if you do what's hard first, then a day will come when what used to be hard will be real easy. And if you do the hard part first, the day will come when you call all your grandkids and say, let's all go to Hawaii together. And they say, that's got to be an obscene amount of money. You're like, well, that's not an obscene amount of money to you when you've already done the hard part first. Now it's easy to take your family to Hawaii or wherever you want to go. You might have a different destination that you appreciate, but it's nothing like looking at your kids and your grandkids' expression, your wife's expression or your husband's expression when they step foot in paradise. It's like, man, you mean to tell me there's a paradise here on earth? Hawaii is one of them. There's several paradises here on earth. But if you don't change your direction and your ability to be able to get something done, then you're never going to be able to see these places. Why? Because you got to be disciplined, meaning that you got to start doing what you don't want to do. You got to start doing what's hard, because you're not going to get to easy street until you go down hard street. Okay, you say, Ricky, what do you mean by that? Okay, it was a time when I used to sit down and talk to people on webinars and stuff, and wasn't nobody even listening. I'm talking about not a human being even on it. And I had some webinars that I would do 3 times a day, even though nobody was even listening. 3 times a day. I'm talking about going hard. And one of the webinars, my daughter was on it, my daughter Ebony, and she laughed so hard when we got through. How you doing, Brother Mike? Yeah, that ain't no joke, ain't it? Downtown ain't no joke. And happy belated birthday, Brother Michael. And it was so the thing with my daughter Ebony, and she just is laughing at me, Courtney. She's like, Ricky, Daddy, you crazy, you crazy, you crazy. I said, why you calling me crazy? She said, because you just screaming and hollering on this webinar. I said, well, I always scream and holler and sing and all that kind of stuff. She said, yeah, but ain't nobody on there but me and you. And you know what nobody on there because you looking at the screen. She said, she said, what it really made me laugh is how you start telling people, y'all don't hear me. Somebody say yeah. She's like, somebody say yeah. What nobody? She said, you are crazy. You act like it. You act like the place was really packed. I said, I'm practicing, baby. All right. I'm practicing, honey. All right. I said, plus, God is listening and the angels are watching. So we in a spiritual world, you all. Okay. So what you do in the dark, God will absolutely positively award you in the light if you'll be disciplined in the dark. Are you hearing me? You don't have to have nobody listening to your presentation that you can physically see. Why? Because God is always looking at you and he's always helping you improve, especially when you do it without any fanfare, without anybody even knowing what's going on. Are you hearing me? If you do it without any fanfare, then the time will come when what? When you have the whole world to be listening to you. And whatever it is that you're doing. Because you got a calling. And your calling is what? It's global, baby. Why? Because our God, he's the God of all heaven and all the earth and the entire universe. He's a large God. He's not a small God. And his expectation of you is he said, I know my thoughts towards you. He said, plans to do you good and not evil, to give you an expected end. He said, my thoughts are not like your thoughts, and my ways are not like your ways. But as high as the heavens are above the earth, so are my thoughts above your thoughts, and my ways above your ways. So let the wicked forsake his way, and the unrighteous man his thoughts, and let him return unto his God, and I will abundantly pardon you. He said, I'll pardon you for thinking so small of me. He's like, because when you think small, you really think small of me. So meaning that when you won't start an endeavor because it's at the beginning stages of the endeavor, you don't think it's going to work out in the end because you don't think much of me. Because I already told you that whatever you put your mind towards doing, it's already taken care of on the other end. Because I told you, seest thou a man that's diligent in his business, he shall stand before kings and not before mean men. That's the promise of God. So God is like, I already told you what's going to happen. So just get to work. Okay. You say, but I'm not real good right now. Well, diligence means that you drive down hard street, hard boulevard to get to easy street. You don't ride straight on easy street. So you say, so why is that, Brother Ricky? Why is God like that? If he's going to give me something, or if he's going to give me the ability to get something, because God doesn't give you anything, because God gives you what? The ability to be able to attain wealth. He doesn't give you wealth. All right. So don't even pray for no wealth, because that's not, God ain't going to give it to you. He said, I give you the ability to attain wealth. So that's a bad prayer. Don't be praying, hey, Lord, give me some money. God is like, I'm not a genie in a bottle. Don't you dare rub me telling me to give you some money. All right. You sound like a pimp. All right. And God is like, I am not a hoe. Do not approach me like that. I'm a majestic king. I got everything that pertains to life and godliness, and you have access to all of that. Now, your prayer ought to be not, hey, Lord, give me this and give me that, give me gumdrops. That shouldn't be about material stuff. That shouldn't be the prayer. The prayer should be, hey, Lord, give me some wisdom. All right. Lord, give me some discipline. Lord, give me some humility. Father, help me to start being patient with what I ought to be patient with, and help me to start discarding what ought to be discarding. Those are accurate prayers, because what happens behind that, you get what you ask for. All right. If you don't have no patience, it's because you haven't asked for it. But that's a great prayer. If you don't have any discipline, it's because you haven't asked for it. That's a great prayer. If you don't have any wisdom, it's because you haven't asked for it. That's a great prayer. All right. And these are the prayers that God expects you to be praying, because that's what you need. That's what produces money. Patience produces money. Wisdom produces money. Discipline produces money. Not money. Money doesn't produce those things. Those things produce money. That's why the Bible says, seek ye first the kingdom of heaven and his righteousness, and all these things shall be added unto you. So stop seeking the wrong thing, because you're not going to get to easy street without doing the hard things. And if anybody tells you anything different, they lying to you. All right. Why? Because there is no character in a person who was born on easy street and rode easy street all their life. You don't want to be around no person like that. You don't want to be around a woman like that or no man like that, because they are extremely narcissistic and some jerks. And who wants to live around a jerk? Are you hearing me? God is more concerned about us becoming something than he is what we become. All right, let me tell you, he's more concerned about the process of us becoming than he is. He don't want you to be on Easy Street, and now all of a sudden you done grew some gold teeth and got a jerry curl and walking around smoking stogies and drinking 40s. Why? Because you finally got the Easy Street. So now you're at Easy Street, but now you're tripping. You dig what I'm saying? Why? Because it was too easy to get there. So God is not going to allow that to happen. The way God allows things to happen is that as soon as you start going down the road that's going to lead you to Easy Street, immediately you're going to have distraction after distraction after distraction after distraction. You're going to have, just yesterday, the bank calls me and said, hey, I got this voicemail, and it says, look, it looked like we have a couple of checks of yours that somebody wrote some bogus checks. So I said, oh, okay. So Shantae and I went out to get something to eat. So I said, okay, I'll stop by there in a few minutes. So I stopped on by, and so they had this dude, his name James Hill or something, some dude. He done wrote some bogus checks. But a few days ago, I left my garage door open. So somebody had just rampaged their way through my garage. And probably some crackheads or something. Maybe somebody that was homeless or something. I don't know. I was like, if they knew me, all they had to do is just come knock on the door. I would have just gave them some money if they knew me. But instead of them trying to get to know who I am, they came through the garage and they tore up a whole bunch of stuff. I didn't really have anything out there of value, but I think I had like an old checkbook or something out there. So they went through it, and so now they in a check writing business. Okay, I'm telling you why people's lives are so hard. People's lives are so hard is because they don't want to do the hard thing so they can have an easy life. So they end up living a hard life because they're trying to do the easy thing. So here he is. He's thinking the easy thing to do is let me just go write some checks off of Brother Ricky's account, who done did all the hard work to have the money that's in the bank. Let me just take his money, gangster style. So he goes to write a couple of checks. Now we done found out who he is and all of that. So what's going to end up happening to the guy? Going to end up going to jail. That's what's going to end up happening to him. What? For being a thief. When what he should have been doing is trying to figure out, hey, how can I do the same kind of work that Brother Ricky did, or just have his work ethic, and then I make my own money? Because I was homeless when I came to Indianapolis. I didn't have any money when I came to Indianapolis. I had $50 in a hotel room, but I didn't go breaking nobody's garage trying to figure out how I can come up fast. Are you hearing me? I was like, I know it's going to take a while for me to come up, but I'm going to come up. And I stopped by to tell you today, it's going to take a while for you to come up, but you're going to come up. If you do what? If you focus on incremental improvement. What is incremental improvement? Because improvement, growth, real growth, it happens incrementally. But mediocrity, that happens fast. Because what? That's easy. It's easy to be mediocre. That's why most people are mediocre. Why? Because they want to run down Easy Street. So they don't have much growth in their lives. Why? Because that's not even what they're trying to do. They're not even trying to grow. That's not even the objective. The objective is I want the stuff that comes on Easy Street, but I don't want the growth that's required to make it there. So God is not going to have that, because God is more concerned about your growth than he is about your money or about whatever your little material stuff is. Because your material stuff is gone. When you leave here, it's gone forever for you. But your growth, it lives forever. Are you hearing me? Your growth never dies. All right. The legacy that you left, it never dies. Your people might be able to run through your money if they don't pay close attention to how you train them, but they can't run through your growth, because your growth is non-negotiable. Your growth is everlasting. You don't stop growing when you die. Why? Because it grows with the generation behind you. So that's something that's everlasting. That's eternal. That's something that we work on from the inside out. And the beautiful thing is that can't nobody steal it. Can't nobody rob it. They broke in my garage and took some checks, but they can't break into my mind and steal my growth. Are you listening to me? Why? Because once your mind grows to a certain level, it can never go back to its former state, because of the expansion of the mind. It increases your capacity to be able to do something. And your capacity to be able to do something is based on the repetition of doing things. The more you do something, the better you get. The more you do something, the better you get. So when people steal from you, when you have some trouble and all, it don't even matter. When they told me that somebody was writing bogus checks, we went to eat lunch. Why? I wasn't worried about that. I'm like, I'll go check it out after we eat lunch. But if you ain't got the $15, you can't even eat lunch. Why? Because you're like, somebody just stole my $15 and all I got is $15. What? Now I ain't even got no appetite. But I'm telling you that my appetite is good no matter what people do and all that. Why? Because I live on Easy Street. But I live on Easy Street because I've been through hard. So it's because I've been through what's hard. Now I live on Easy Street. So now whatever you do, it don't even matter. Why? Because we got so many resources. So if you ever want to get to that point in your life, if you ever want to be financially set, then you're going to have to start doing now what it is that you don't really want to do, and keep doing it. What you don't want to do, make that what you do every day. Are you hearing me? Not what you want to do, what you don't want to do, and do it every day, and make it until it becomes so habitual, until it doesn't matter now how you feel about it, because the feelings are totally out the way. It's not even an emotional thing no more. It's just a repetitive behavior. That's how you get rich. I'm not talking about what I heard. I'm talking about my life. I'm talking about what happened to me, how I went from having $50 to being able to call my whole family and say, we're going to all go and spend a holiday in paradise. And don't nobody have to pay for nothing. And I got a bunch of kids too, and grandkids. All right. It ain't no handful of people. It's a tribe. All right. So if you want to be able to take your whole tribe to wherever you want to go, and y'all spend a holiday the way you want to spend a holiday, then if you want that to be your reality next year, and it's not your reality right now, then that means that you need to get some right now type of attitude towards what you want to see happen next year. That means that you're going to have to sacrifice the things that you've been doing that don't produce money, and start doing the things that do produce money, and doing them every day, even though you're not producing the money right now. It's not the money that matters right now. It's the repetition of the task that matters right now. People that get rich are task driven. We do tasks over and over and over again until we become so good at the task, until it's undeniable that you are a master of your craft. And once you become a master of your craft, then money just chases you and literally follows you down the street. And I was telling the young man today, the gentleman I was just talking to on our last Zoom, we were talking about this international business that we're entering in together, where we're going to be doing this exporting from Thailand around the world. So we just got off a meeting, just having this meeting. And so I was telling him, I said, one thing I'm going to be able to help you with is I'm going to show you how to be able to communicate at extremely high levels. I said, much higher than anything you've probably been used to before. And I'm going to show you how you can create $1 million in a day, and maybe 10 or 20 or $100 million in a day. And I'm going to show you from my experience. I'm not just talking to you about some hypothetical type of thing. I'm going to show you how I've done it, and I'm going to show you how we can even improve on that. So he was all ears when I told him that. I said, so one thing that you'll learn is that if you're really good, you say I'm a really good salesperson or a really good marketer. And I said, okay, well, how many people have you turned down lately? So you say, well, Ricky, what do you mean? How many people have I turned down? I don't even understand the nature of that question. Well, you're not a good salesperson or a good marketer until you turn people down. That's how you know. That's how you measure whether or not you're really good at what you're doing. Why? Because you don't want everybody's money. You don't want to be bothered with every single person that comes to you and says, I want to buy what you have. You need to I'm talking about if you're a coach, if you're a trainer, if you're a teacher, that sort of thing. So the answer to some people is no. You say, why is that, Ricky? It's because I would make less money if I took your money. I'm talking about you paid my price, but I would make less money because I'm already looking at your spirit, your temperament, your attitude, your disposition. And I know you're going to do what? You're going to hold me up. Your money is not worth it. All right. Why? Because my blood pressure go up messing with you. All right. Why? Because I don't like you. I don't like your attitude. I like to laugh. You don't like to laugh. I'm generous with people. You stingy. All right. I'm very honest. You're a cheating. You're a lying cheat. All right. I don't feel entitled to anything. I feel like anything I get, I need to work for it to earn it. You feel entitled. So the answer to you is no, I don't want your money. All right. And I'm trying to figure out why you still standing here after I told you I don't want your money. Okay. See, you don't even understand how to get to Easy Street. You get to Easy Street by being extremely upfront with people and frank with people when you meet them, because you really don't need their money. Only thing you need is wisdom, knowledge, understanding, grace, mercy, and truth. Those are needs. That's what we need. We don't need money. Are you hearing me? Let me give it to you one more time. You don't need money. You need mercy, truth, grace, wisdom, honor, integrity, character, the love of God. That's what you need. Those are needs. That is the fruit of the Spirit. You need to eat your fruit and distribute your fruit every day. That's what you need to do. That's what I need to do. I don't need your money, and you don't need my money. You don't need nobody's money. But until you get the right on your knees and ask for the right thing, then you'll always be a needy person because you ain't even seeking the right thing. Let me give it to you this way. David came home he came home in the book of Samuel, 1 Samuel, the 30th chapter. They burned his crib up. They took both of his wives, and they took all of his homies' wives too. So he gets back to the crib, and everybody's salty as a box of rocks. So they said, hey, man, what's going on up here, player? You are a leader, and you mean to tell me we done got popped off like this, messing around with you? We should kill you. So they talking about killing David, stoning David. Now, they weren't talking about stoning him while everything was going good, but these are some fair weather type cats. And now they want to get an attitude with him when things start going bad because he's running a business, a kingdom, a Fortune 500 business, and now they done took a hit. You know, they stock them went down. Why? Because when people come in and steal all your stuff, it's the equivalent of the stock market going belly up. So what? All they stock them went down. Everything ain't peachy cream no more. It ain't all gravy, Navy. And now you're going to find out who the real ride or die brothers and sisters are and who ain't. That's going to happen in your life too. You believe, if it ain't happened already, you can believe it's going to happen because you're not going to get rich until you drop some folk off. All right. Because this rich train, this money train, this wealth train, it's got a lot of stops. It's got a lot of depots. All right. And when you get to certain places, the people who can't take no pressure, you're gonna drop them off. Why? Because they're gonna act a fool right in front of your face. I ain't telling you what might happen to you. I'm telling you what's gonna happen to you if you go from being broke to being rich. I'm telling you it happens to everybody. Somebody's gonna be on the train with you. The train gonna get rocky, and then they're gonna act a fool. So just be expecting it. Why? But let them go. All right. Bless them. You know, God bless them. Tell them, let the doorknob hit them where the good Lord split them. Don't let it bother you at all. All right. Just keep your eyes focused on the kingdom that you're building because this is God's kingdom and don't nothing change. The same principles that got you here are the same principles that's going to take you to higher heights. Just stick with the principles no matter what happens. Right. So David gets back and they talking crazy to him. So he just went and started talking to God by himself. He's like, he just encouraged himself with the Lord. That's the beautiful thing about having a personal relationship with God. When everybody around you acting a fool, it don't matter. Why? Because your relationship is personal. And you realize that what? God, you don't change. Your attitude don't change. I'm so glad you ain't like humans because these Negroes around here, they was cool 15 minutes ago. Now they all want to run like the wind and they talking real crazy over here. So David started talking to God. He turned his back on them. He ignored them. And you better do the same thing if you're going to be a wealthy man and a wealthy woman, if you're going to recover what the cankerworm that took for you. All right. You're going to have to learn how to ignore some folk and act just like they don't even exist. So he turns his head away from them and he go over to God. He say, Lord, what you want me to do? He said, Lord, should I pursue these people that just stuck us up and took everything we got? What do you want me to do? God said, go ahead. He said, and you're going to recover everything that they took back from you. So what is my point? My point is you want to learn how to turn what's hard into what's easy, but you got to be going in the right direction. And it's one simple way to find out if it's even worth pursuing. Just ask God. Don't panic in the middle of turmoil and just run off and do something. When you get in the middle of turmoil, it's one way to make sure that whatever the move you're about to make, to ensure that it's the right move, just ask God. Don't talk to God all while everything's going good. And then when the pressure comes, start talking to people. Because I'm like, what? The person is up under the same pressure you're up under. Can you imagine how that would have went if David would have been like, hey, fellas, come on, man. You know, all of us in this thing together, man. You know, look, they took my wives just like they took your wives. What y'all want to thump it out? What y'all want to do? What y'all want to do? What y'all want to do? Can you imagine how that would have ended if he had panicked like that? He had to ignore them. Okay. He realized I'm a leader. And since I'm a leader, I realize that these guys, this is above their pay scale. They don't know how to deal with adversity. So I'm not even going to be bothered with trying to coerce them into acting right. I'm going to cut them off right now. I'm just going to encourage myself with God. I'm going to come over here and me and God, we're going to talk to each other. Okay, Lord, what do you want me to do? Because I need an answer from you. All right. Because they don't have the answers. All right. Don't talk to people who don't have the answers. Talk to the man, not the man, because God is not a man, he should lie, the son of man, he should repent. Talk to the spirit, the entity, the God of heaven and earth, because you got direct access to him. Talk directly to him when you're up under this kind of pressure and say, hey, Lord, what should I do? And he told him what to do. He said, go and you're going to recover all. He said, matter of fact, go hard. So when God tells you what to do, just go hard. All right. And now you can turn what was hard into something that's easy. So they whooped them dudes all night long and brought back everything that they had. It's time for y'all to beat the devil down. Ain't you had enough of that? It's time for y'all to turn the tables on the devil. Are you hearing me? And it's time for things that used to be hard in your life to start becoming easy. But because you're going to take a different approach after listening to this message today, Lord willing, you will take a different approach. You'll start seeing things that used to be hard start to unravel coming up this week, next week, the following week. Yeah, the rest of the end of this year will be different for you. And you'll hit the ground running for 2024 if you start practicing this right now. So what do you need to start practicing right now? Repetition. That's my whole point. Start doing the same things every day, consistently, at the same times every day, uninterrupted, unimpeded by people, because your future depends on it, your family future depends on it, and you don't have no more time to waste. Do not spend another frivolous day. Are you picking up what I'm putting down? Pay attention to what you're doing with your time. Pay attention to what you're pouring your time into. Do everything intentionally. Be intentional. Even be intentional when it's time for you not to do nothing. All right? My days go by, and they've been so disciplined for so long until I love to play Scrabble. I can afford to take a day and play 5 hours worth of Scrabble all by myself if I want to. And don't feel condemned about it when it's over with. Why? Because everything that's supposed to be done has already been done. What you'll find out is that you got more time to do what you want to do than you ever had in your life, if you do what you don't want to do first. Are you listening to me? Are you paying attention to what I'm telling you? I'm talking to you today about how to make what's hard, how to make it easy, because it's too hard on you all right? And the reason it's too hard on you is because you won't do what's hard. You're just doing what's easy. So when it comes time for you to be able to do what everybody else can't do, you in a crowd with everybody else. You have to do everything exactly how everybody else does it, when that is not the will of God for you. The will of God for you is to be the head and not the tail, the lender and not the borrower, above and not beneath. The will of God for you is to be going this way when everybody else is coming this way, because we are the children of God. We are not of the world. All right. The wealth of the sinner is laid up for us, not our money laid up for them. Are you hearing me? We in charge, not them. All right. That's the benefits of being in this kingdom. You in charge. Are you hearing me? No, the sinner is not in charge. You're in charge if you're in this kingdom. But if you're in this kingdom, then it means you got to practice the discipline of being in it. And that's what makes you the head and not the tail, not just because of some scriptures you read. It's in Deuteronomy, but it doesn't mean anything if you're not practicing the discipline that comes along with it. Are you hearing me? There's discipline that produces millions and billions and millions of dollars. And I command you in the name of Jesus Christ of Nazareth, the Son of the living God, to become the disciple of Christ that you were meant to become. All right? A disciple, what? Disciplined. A disciple who? Disciplined. What? Somebody who is repetitious. What? Redundant. Same things over and over and over again. The stuff that everybody else don't think is sexy. The stuff that everybody else looks at as mundane. We live in an ADD world. People's attention spans are 6 seconds. Grown men and women. And what? Want an easy fix for everything. Want everything to just fall into their lap. And it's pathetic. I've never seen anything like it in my life. Are you hearing me? Learn how to serve at a high level. Slow down so that you can speed up, and watch what happens with your life. Come on, let me pray for you. Father, in the name of Jesus, I thank you for my beautiful brothers and sisters today. And Lord, I see some amazing wealth come into the lives of the men and women who are listening right now, because I can see Satan falling from heaven like lightning. I see his strongholds coming down. I see discipline going into the lives of my brothers and my sisters. I see determination going into their lives. I see intentionality going into their lives, Lord. So I speak nothing but life over the life of my brothers and sisters today. We shall live and we shall not die. We shall thrive and not just merely survive. We shall have easy days on this earth, Lord, where we have everything that we need, and our children got everything that they need, and our grandkids got everything that they need, and our unborn kids are born, Lord, into wealthy lineages. I see it in my spirit, Lord, and we declare that that's the way we're going to perform. We're going to do our part to be the progenitor in our families, to start this amazing wealth trend that goes on, so that we can be able to take vacations, so that we can be able to sit down and have board meetings, so that we can sit down and think and come up with great ideas and strategies, Lord, and have worldwide impact. I speak it into all of our lives, Lord, because we are willing to do what it is that you told us to do. Lord, we know that ain't no big deal to you. That's a small thing to you. But Lord, we're just asking you to give us the grace to ask you for the right things and to pursue what makes sense to you, so that we can have the best success possible, whatever days we got left on this side of the grave. Now, Lord, we thank you today for your amazing word. It's sweeter than the honey and the honeycomb. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen. God bless all of you. Have a beautiful day. I see great success in your life. I see beautiful things happening for you. You have an extremely bright future. I speak life into your life, life into your life. You shall live and not die. Everything you put your hand towards doing, everything you put your hand towards doing is going to be amazing. Everything you touch is going to turn to gold. All you got to do is just follow those principles first. Do the hard thing first. And then the easy stuff, I'm telling you right now, you're going to wake up one day and you'll pinch yourself and you'll say, Lord, have mercy. Lord, I didn't realize what kind of benefits you had. Lord, I didn't realize how much, what I could really be, what I could have really attained. I didn't even understand the breadth of your power. I didn't know, I didn't know, Lord. I didn't know you the way that I'm knowing you in a way that I didn't know before, because I'm giving you more of me than I've ever given you before. I'm practicing your principles in a way that I never did before. So I'm seeing the results that I never saw before. I speak all of that into your amazing lives today. I do have one announcement for you before we go. And that announcement is that if you missed our class on bartering with the bank, all you have to do is go to Instagram and put in a barter or a barter replay. And Instagram, I believe it's just barter. I believe that's all you got to put in there. I told the young man to put barter replay. So I believe that's what you need to do. So put barter replay, and you can actually watch that again, and you can send that to your friends, and you can learn how to we barter with a bank. Okay. And if you've never seen that and you're interested in that, there's two ways you can do it. One way is that you can simply watch the replay for free, or you can just get my new book. And my new book has a whole chapter on it, on bartering with the bank. And let's see here. So if you haven't seen this book before, this is my new book. It's called Unmovable, Unstoppable, Unshakable. Unmovable, Unstoppable, Unshakable. Bible Principles that Guarantee You Financial Success. It's in the website. It's on Instagram in my bio, and you can buy it as a ebook, or you can order it as and have it mailed to your house, whatever you like. If you have it mailed to your house, I personally sign it, because I personally send out the books myself. I don't have a real book following, large book following. I'm not on Amazon, and pretty much we just private people who are just teaching people some of the things that we do in the private. All right. God bless you all. God bless you, Charmaine. I appreciate that. You have a wonderful day as well. Verlaine, have a wonderful day. Stan, have a beautiful day. Joyce, have a beautiful day. Pam, have a beautiful day. Aaron, have a beautiful day. God bless all of you. My cousin Jackie, you have a wonderful day. Dawn, have a wonderful day. Ken, have a beautiful day. Be blessed. Lisa, you have a beautiful day as well. All of you, I see amazing things happening to you. You'll never be the same after the day. Take this video and share it with your friends who are having a hard time getting some camaraderie or having a hard time getting some traction. Take it. God bless you, Aaron. God bless you. Have a great day as well, son. You take this video today, share it with your friends. But when you share it with them, tell them, listen, are you having a hard time getting some traction? Are you having a hard time getting your hooks into your skill set? Are you having a hard time with that? If you are, I would listen to Brother Ricky today. I believe it'll help you. All right. God bless you all. Have a beautiful day. And remember that stellar is as stellar does. Tomorrow we'll be here with my good friend, Pastor Bishop Derek from Kenya. And we will be, and his lovely children are going to come on and actually sing for us. I believe that's what he said. He wanted to bring his kids on to sing. So if you all want to see the kids in Kenya that we've been helping for the last, I don't know how many years, and you want to be a part of helping some orphans, then you might want to tune in tomorrow, because it's a beautiful thing to see them singing and laughing, and they actually got enough food to eat, and they're not all skinny and stuff, and it's just a beautiful thing to see. So he called me because he's such a grateful man. So he sent me a message and said the kids want to sing to you, Brother Ricky. I said, well, why don't we just bring them on a channel, and they can sing to everybody, so all y'all can get to meet them, and bless them too. All right, God bless all y'all. I'll see you back tomorrow morning here at 10 o'clock a.m. Eastern. If the Lord says the same, have a wonderful day. Love you all. God bless you.